I want to tell you a story of Tesla service. While I was driving recently to a car show in Kansas, I looked down at my screen for just a fraction of a second, heard a thud, and then just as a normal reaction, looked out my rearview mirror and saw a puff of feathers behind me. I determined that a bird had flown up from the side of the road and hit my car in precisely the right spot to knock a parking sensor back through the plastic nose cone of my car. A friend of mine put a piece of tape over the hole while I was at the show so that I didn't get any moisture in the car, and it worked great. I was able to take my car to a car wash the morning of the show and drive back with no problems. Well, I used my phone app that comes with a Tesla automobile and scheduled a service appointment and described the problem. The service appointment found a time slot for me in Littleton, Colorado, which is near Denver, about an hour's north where I live, and scheduled me. Well, a week before the service appointment was to happen, I'd already arranged a ride with a friend of mine. The app says your repair can be done by a mobile ranger. Would you like to consider having a ranger visit? And I said, sure. Who wouldn't want a repair technician come to your house to service your vehicle? So I was going to wait a week, and then on Thursday afternoon, I get a text from the mobile ranger that says, I think I can come by early tomorrow morning, that was this past Friday, and look at your car. Would that be convenient for you? And of course I said, sure. So a week before I was supposed to originally drive the car to Denver and have it serviced, I have a mobile ranger show up at my house, and he takes a look at my car, and lo and behold, the sensor is still in the car. It's hanging on by the wire that it uses to send the signals to the car's computer for parking assist. So he's able to push the sensor back through and get the car going without any cost to me. One of the nice features of Tesla service is a lot of times they do what they can in your favor, and although it should never be considered standard, he said, the visit's going to cost you nothing, don't worry about it. So this guy comes out for a service visit for a accident. In other words, it had nothing to do with vehicle warranty, and he doesn't charge me for the visit. Isn't that nice? Well, I originally also said, can you replace my 12-volt battery? All electric cars have a 12-volt that they use to manage the charging system so that every electron in your main battery can be used to push the car. Well, he looked at it, he checked the health of my battery remotely from his van and said, your battery doesn't need anything. They stress test those batteries every time they charge them, and your 12-volt is healthy. Don't mess with success. Leave it alone. So at his advice, I did not replace my 12-volt, which is nice. If you've got a good one and it's working, let's not ask for trouble. Even though my 12-volt is 5 years old, he said it really shouldn't be an issue, and when the car does tell you that the 12-volt needs replacement, you have got literally weeks, if not months, to replace it. It's not going to give you 5 minutes notice and say you better do something. So that made me feel a lot better. And the whole point of this video was to tell you that having a mobile Ranger as a possibility for any repair, most any repair, and then having Tesla come out and do it gratis is what is so different about the Tesla Motor Company. Think about the PR advantages that Ford, Chevrolet, Chrysler, Toyota would have if they had mobile assistance like that. Now, granted, Teslas need a lot less maintenance. There's almost nothing you can do to it. But the newer cars, like the Model 3 and the Model Y, something like 80% of any possible repair outside of sheet metal, if you bend the sheet metal, they can't fix that. But 80% of any repair or replacement in a Model 3 or a Model Y can be done without the car on a lift. That means if they have the parts with them, they can do it in your driveway. What a phenomenal change of maintenance. That means a person can come out with a fairly well-stocked truck and do almost anything to your car. The technician talked about the MCU1 replacement, which is the main control computer. Some Teslas need those replaced as they get older. The early Tesla models, including mine, might need an MCU1 replacement, and he used to do it in the field. That involves taking the dashboard off the car, but he could do them in the field. Now they've changed the rules and said you got to do it at a service center, but gosh darn, that means it could be done. So that really is a game changer as far as electric cars and Tesla Motor Company is concerned. And quite frankly, that's why I think Tesla's going to take over the world. If the traditional car manufacturers don't get their act together, don't make a marketable electric vehicle, and don't change the way they do service, they're really going to struggle. And it's kind of like I used to hear about RV sales. RV salespeople and dealers are your friend before you buy. And once you've purchased and given them your money, now they're your enemy and you become an expense and they don't want to deal with you. And I've heard horror stories of brand new Winnebagos spending more time in the RV repair shop than in the first 2 years than the new owner had to use it on a camping trip. That's not insulting Winnebagos, it's insulting the entire warranty repair business model that seems to surround recreational vehicles. And that is to some extent what you see in most car dealerships. Most car dealerships, service managers have a 50% commission. If they can talk you into an early differential lubricant change or an early oil replacement or an early shock replacement, they get a 50% commission. Of course, they're going to tell you, while it's in there, you better take care of it now. I personally have an invoice that I take with me to car shows from Toyota, where they talked me into $742 of preventative maintenance on a car that was working perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with it. I could have completely avoided it, but they scared me and said, well, you've got to do it. It's got to be done eventually. Why don't you do it now? $742 of maintenance that, one, would never have to be done on an electric car, but two, could have waited probably 10 years given the amount of time that it takes me to put a certain amount of miles on cars. I work from home, so I really don't drive that much. So that's just typically the business model of a dealership service center, and I object. So that was my little explanation of why Tesla is going to take over the world. I think later in this video I will show you some work that I'm doing on the sensor that was repaired. I did not get an O-ring that is for cosmetic purposes only on the sensor that was put back in on my car. So I bought some through Amazon, and I will be sizing it and replacing it today, and I'll show you how to do that. Well, I'd like to put an O-ring where my sensor is on my nose cone. The Tesla tech could not get me another one without ordering a new sensor, and they're about $125. So I went to Amazon and overnight bought a bunch of O-rings in an assorted pack, and I'm hoping to see if I can get one to fit that will look OEM. Well, the best laid plans of mice and men. Who would have thought 20 or so different O-rings wouldn't fit? I found one that looked to be the right size, but it was too thick. And I found one that was the right thickness, but it was too large. So I'm giving up putting an O-ring in there. I don't want to spend any more money on any more O-rings that might not fit. So it was a good thought, but I'm going to leave the sensor as is and just keep it clean at car washes. So thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, please hit the like button and subscribe. See you next time.